Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Developer Student Club. Hmm, wait. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. Yeah. Seems like the voice is going well. And now we're gonna move into our first personal development workshop. Um, Upa. Yep. Exactly. And today, we're gonna be introducing our personal development workshop, our first in our personal branding workshops. The first one is going to be mainly on highlighting how you can personal brand yourself through your website. And then the other kind of serious workshop will be going more into how to create that yourself. We'll be mainly using a kind of boilerplate of creating your website. And that would be something that would help you on creating your own portfolio that you can reach out to friends and family. And in this personal branding workshop, I'll be also introducing Upamanu Kashyap. We'll be going through the workshop itself and through it all. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Upa to the screen.
Hey everyone, I don't know if you can hear me. Can I get a confirmation?
Yep.
All right, cool. What's up, everyone? So I'll be taking you through our personal branding workshop today and discussing how you can best present yourself to anyone that is actually looking at your profile, or in general, all parts of all aspects of this. And yeah, I guess I'll kick it off. I'll introduce myself really quickly. I'm Upamanyu. I'm a third-year electrical engineering major, and yeah, let's get started. So let's start off with what is visual design, and I want you all to think about this. Write it down. Think about it. Drop the answers in chat. I'm looking at the chat right now, so I'll be able to see what you guys are saying. So let's hear what you guys take on what visual design is in chat. Um, Designing visuals, Dr. W, yeah. Uh, Posters and stuff, yeah. That's fair, yeah. Sure. Okay, cool. Well, let's go into what our definition for visual design today will be. So, visual design has three purposes: to establish your credibility, to communicate a brand or personality, and to enhance the usability, whatever it may be. So let's talk about a few concepts in visual design. So firstly, we're going to discuss information hierarchy. So this is a method that we use to guide where users' attention should be directed to. So this is a very poor example of information hierarchy. As you can see, it's just a block of text as just staring you in the face, and the user has no idea how to parse it. Like, you looking at this, a lot of you probably don't even want to read it. I know I don't. So this is a really poor example. And if you're going to present your information like this on a resume, LinkedIn, website, whatever it may be, people that access it are not going to be willing to read this. Now, this is slightly better, but this is still a very poor example of an information hierarchy. So now we've actually just taken that same block of text, not modified it at all, and we've split it up into various blocks and sections. So at least here we have some section headers, and you can kind of tell what each part of the data is, but there's really no understanding to like it, as the namesake is, the hierarchy of information. What's the most important? What are the biggest ideas, and down to the concepts. So let's go to another one. So this is now getting okay. Like this is I'd say acceptable, average, mediocre, whatever words you want to use. So here we take advantage of font weight and font size. So again, same blocks of text, but weight of the font, as in bolding your text, and as well as making your font larger, so you can kind of tell what order you're supposed to read this information in and how important each piece is, how big the ideas are. And you can finally distinguish between the headers and start to parse the information. And finally, we're going to go to a good example of information hierarchy. So this is exactly what you'd want to see if you were accessing information. So you start with the biggest concept at the very top and a small subtext, and follow it by a smaller subheading, and then the two smallest concepts at the bottom with all the content there, so that the user can clearly tell which parts of the information they're looking at. So you see here that it's the same things with font weight and font size, as well as separating your text into different parts. So you have a primary header, secondary header, tertiary header, and your paragraph text. But something that's also gone over in this slide that helps out with this is color. So color is used to communicate a brand or a personality. And I'd like to do another exercise with all of you in chat, and I'd like you all to comment in chat if you recognize what companies these color schemes are representing. I know that these colors are very, very distinct for companies that use them. So let's hear it in chat. Let's see if any of you can identify them. Let's see. Google. Robbie says Google. Yep, that's the bottom right.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Oh, there's my Google phone going off. Sorry about that. Yep, there's Facebook in there as well. Spotify. Wow, impressive. You guys are good at this. And no one's hit the bottom left yet, so yeah, I'm going to jump forward. So a lot of you guessed it correct in chat. So there we have Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, and Google. So isn't that pretty amazing? The colors alone are so resonant with that company that without seeing anything else, any other information, by just looking at their color schematic, you can easily identify what that company is. I think that's pretty remarkable, and it's just goes to show the importance of communicating your brand through the use of colors. So another thing that we saw in that good example of an information hierarchy is a grid system. So a grid system breaks up space into regular units. And why do you want to do a grid system? Well, for three reasons. It provides clarity, efficiency, economy, and continuity. So, like, what is a grid system? It organizes information on a page. So you just want it to be clearly understandable for the user. So let's look at an old example of a grid system. We saw this a couple minutes ago. So as you can see, you can clearly kind of divide this page into blocks. So you have your first block on top where you have your biggest header and a subheader, and then at the bottom you have two more quarters. So the screen, as you can see, is evenly divided up. So you have a half at the top and then two quarters at the bottom. So this clearly sorts out the information for the user, and that has to do with a little bit of how our brains are designed. They want to see things in sections. So it's always important to organize your data or any information you're presenting on a website, portfolio, resume, whatever it may be, exactly like it's seen here. Sorry, not exactly like it's seen here, but in a similar fashion where you're splitting up things into pieces so that the user can easily understand it. So let's look at another example that we're all familiar with grid systems. So this is YouTube. YouTube works on a grid system, and it's pretty obvious. I would say when you look at YouTube, you can clearly see that the left side of the screen is dedicated to one thing, and the right side of the screen is dedicated to another thing. So the left side of the screen is the biggest piece of information is right front and center. That's your video. That's what you care about. That's why you're on this landing page. So your video is front and center there, and then below it you have video title, the metadata, channel name, descriptions, whatever it may be. So that's all on the left side of the screen. Now, the right side of the screen is used to recommend the user videos based on this current video that they're watching or their past watch history. So the use of a grid here allows the users to view the data on the screen in a very organized fashion. I think that's pretty evident. So we're going to do an activity here really quickly. You guys can participate at home. So we're going to be designing a resume. So if you want to use that bit.ly link, it has all the information you would need. And it's a cool exercise you can try at home where you can design your own resume using all this information and try to sort it out into a grid system. So if you guys want to take a few minutes and do that, then let's go. I'll pull up that link again, actually, so you guys can see that. My bad. We got that, and you're able to access that Google Doc. How long do you get with this? Well, I mean, I can give you guys a couple minutes right now, but this is more intended for an activity you can do by yourself at home. But yeah, it's just intended to give an example of how we can do resumes with this kind of with the concepts that I've gone over, like grid systems, hierarchies, and whatnot. So I think if everyone's accessed that Google Doc, then yeah, thank you for putting in chat. I think that was Michael. Thanks, Michael. All right, I think I'm going to move on from here, and we'll continue. So, what's next? We're going to talk about product design. So, this is the same exercise that we did earlier. Why don't you guys tell me in chat what you think product design is? This one's a little bit easier. Don't really think too hard about this. It's not as cryptic as the first one. Let's see. Any takers on product design? Forgive me if the stream is lagging. Not too sure. Well, okay, I'm not gonna keep you guys hanging for much longer. Like I said, don't think too hard about it. It's just the art of designing a product, or the act of designing a product. It's not. So, moving on from there. So, what is a product? I want you guys to write that down. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds. What do you think a product is? Because it seems simple. We all have products in our daily life, but what truly is a product? And if any volunteers want to put down in chat what they think a product is, I'll be looking at that really quick. Any takers for an object that is usable for a consumer? Yeah, that's a good one. Any others? That's a good definition, yep. Well, I'm going to jump ahead right now. Dr. W got it right. It was kind of in line with what we're thinking of, because you use the word consumer in your definition. So the product, the way we want to look at it, is a solution to a problem for a given person. So you're never going to be designing a product just because it needs to exist for your own entertainment or amusement. A product that's marketable is always a solution to a user's problem. So you're trying to tackle someone else's problem in their daily life. So, what are typical problems for a new product team? What are some problems you might face if you're on a startup? So, lack of time, funding, and understanding of the customer are three of the major problems that startups face. And quite frequently, these will hit them pretty hard and cause them to struggle. So, how can we mitigate these problems? Well, we're going to build efficiently, measure success, and learn. So, what does that mean? We're going to build our product, we're going to measure its success, and then we're going to learn from our successes and failures and repeat this. And this leads us to the idea of the build, measure, learn cycle. I don't know what happened to that text over there, but this is the build, measure, learn cycle. So like I said, you're going to build a product, You're going to measure its success. You're going to learn from the successes and your failures and then repeat it. And the more frequently and the more often you go through this cycle, you will end up getting a better product in the longer run. So unfortunately, a lot of the time, startups and companies, and as well as just normal people, focus the time into building the best product they can. Let's try to look at how we can optimize that and speed that up. So what do we build? Eric Ries, who's the author of the New York Times bestseller, The Lean Startup, says that the version of a new product or service which allows a team to collect the maximum amount of validated learning about customers with the least effort. So what does this mean? Well, we need to build the simplest version of a product that allows us to collect information from a consumer. That's the way we can improve these products. Striving for perfection on the first try, like for a lot of people, may seem essential. I myself am a perfectionist, but a lot of the times this is not commercially viable, and it's actually going to end up shooting your company in the foot. So this is the target that Rise was talking about. It's the minimum viable product. That's the concept we're going to look at. It gives you the most opportunity to learn, and it's the minimum product that you can put out to the market. So we're going to talk about wireframing, landing pages, how you can use demo videos, the Wizard of Oz, and of course, a working prototype. So this is what a wireframe is. A wireframe is a drawing, essentially. The drawing should just have enough information for you to ask meaningful questions. So if you're going to build an email client and you're trying to decide where the compose button is for writing an email, you could draw out a few versions and run simple tests where you'd show people this wireframe drawing and ask them to say, tell them this is an email client that I'm designing and I want you to send a new email, and just observe what they do. For the purposes of testing, these wireframes don't have to be very refined. In fact, the rougher the sketch it is, the easier it's going to be to improve on it. So you want a very rough drawing. Many times if users see a perfectly done wireframe, they won't give you honest feedback because they think it's like a finished product, or out of fear of hurting your feelings. And if it's rough and they think you haven't really put a lot of time into it, or this is not really finalized by any means, they're going to be far more honest with you. So that's what you want to aim for first. Then let's talk about landing pages. So many times you might have an idea, but you might not be sure if people actually want to use it. So in that case, you can set up a simple landing page, and then on the landing page, you can market your fake hypothetical product or service, and then collect signups for more info, so to speak. So like it's the example shown here is Lyft's landing page for drivers. So they're saying make $1,000 guaranteed in Pittsburgh. So now they just let you put your phone number there and then answer a simple poll if you already have a car or if you need a car, and they're going to contact you. So this is a great way to gauge interest, and it's super cheap. All you usually have to pay for is the domain name and the hosting fees. So those are fairly cheap these days. So this is a really easy way to gather data and collect info on your potential customers. So next up we have demo videos. So with today's computer editing softwares, people can make transformers look real. And if that's the case, why can't we use software and video editing to make our own solutions look real? So we can create a real demo video of a solution that actually just doesn't exist yet. And then we can go around and show it to people and gain insights about our idea without having to build the whole thing. So this is a clickable link. I'm going to see if I can play this. Oh, shoot. Okay, give me a second. Share my screen again. Sorry about that. Let's look at this demo video. All right.
Okay, my name's Drew, and I'll be showing you a quick tour of Dropbox, which is a new way to store and share files online. What makes Dropbox different is that it just works, and there isn't any complicated setup or interface to learn. Let's get started. I've already installed Dropbox on a Windows PC and put a bunch of files in. Now I want to sync these files to my Mac. So to do that, I just installed Dropbox, and now I'm linking my Mac to my account. So in a second, my account will be linked, and you can see that the files that were on my Windows PC will start coming down. And what we're looking at is my Dropbox folder, which looks and acts like any other folder except for two things. One, these little green icons that indicate files are up to date. And two, anything in my Dropbox is synced across all of my computers and to the web. And you'll notice that when I make changes, everything syncs up pretty quickly. And as another example, I'm going to log into my Windows PC, where you'll see that not only are the changes from my Mac already here, but if I make another change to a file, so for example, this picture of a platypus, and then I hit save, the change begins uploading immediately. And the change is reflected in a matter of seconds. So the point is, if you've ever worked with multiple computers or carried around a USB drive or emailed yourself files from work, you can see this is a much easier way of managing your stuff. And we also protect you from the bad things that can happen to your files. So if I delete a bunch of stuff, we have this web interface where you can not only get to your files in case you're not at one of your computers. So here are the contents of my Dropbox here. But we have this show deleted files link where you can select a file that you've deleted, and then you have an option to bring it back in a couple of clicks. So I'll do that, and instantly the file's back. And not only do you have the option of restoring the most recent version, but actually any version.
So I think you guys get the idea of what a good demo video looks like, and that video is also just extremely old. I don't think I think all of you can just see that from the quality, the resolution, all that stuff. So you can see the real power for demo video. At that point, Drew Houston really didn't have a solid actual working platform for Dropbox. That was a very prototype stage. Not many people were using it, yet he still conveyed the message and the purpose of his product very effectively through a demo video. And we all know the success that Dropbox has become today. So lastly, let's discuss the Wizard of Oz. So for anybody that's seen the Wizard of Oz, you might be confused as to why I'm bringing this up. But we know that the wizard isn't truly magic. Instead, it's a man standing behind a curtain making people think he's doing magic. You see where I'm getting with this? So for this minimum viable product, we want to do the exact same thing. So imagine we want to build an e-commerce website. We can build the front end pretty easily, make it look like really chic, classy, whatever. But the back end technology and like the business side of it, the fulfillment process is going to be much, much, much more difficult. So why don't we just build a front end that sends an email to you every time an order is made, and then when you get an email, you just drive to the store, buy whatever the user ordered, and then ship it to them. So the customer is going to think that all of this was done automatically, or if you will, auto-magically. I'm sorry, I had to do that. But anyways, so really you're running the show and your product isn't actually fully functional yet. The point is it gives you the opportunity to test if your product is actually viable and if your customers want it. So at that point, you would go through the steps and spend the time and the money in order to make the back end of your product much more viable, without you having to drive to the store and ship the order yourself. So now we're going to actually talk through building an MVP. So we're going to be designing a calendar application. So this is an exercise I want to do with everyone in chat again. Again, you can partake at home and just type it into chat. So what I want you to do is define the user of your calendar. Like, what would your calendar's user look like? The problem statement. So if you have gripes to share with iCal or like the iPhone calendar or something, you can put that down as well. And the area of improvement you're going to be focusing on. So when you're doing this at home, I would suggest you grab a blank piece of paper or a notebook and use the wireframing techniques we talked about and just really construct what your calendar would look like. And then once the wireframes are built, you'd be able to test them, take notes on what your test subjects are telling you about your solution. And then after that, you can synthesize your findings and decide where you want to improve and how. And if you repeat the cycle multiple times, then your calendar is going to be at its ideal phase. So what I was getting at with this calendar thing is that you're going to be able to take this and extrapolate that and apply it to your own portfolios or landing pages or whatever it may be. A calendar is just usually a very easy example as to applying these techniques at first, so you can get feedback from people on that. And I would suggest you do the same thing with your own personal branding. So take your LinkedIn profile, show it to your dad, show it to your mom, show it to someone that's professional, maybe a professor, have them give you feedback on it, what they would like to see before you send it to your employers. In order to gain that feedback, learn from your successes and failures and build a new version, then do the same thing again. So that's all we had time for today. We'll be taking questions from chat if anyone has anything. But other than that, thank you so much for your time. Michael, if you, or I'll kill my screen right now. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions for me, you can drop those in chat really quick, and I will get to them. And if not, y'all are free to leave, and have a great night. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, no problem. I enjoyed it. What happened to my screen there? That was really weird, but yeah. All right, looks like we're not getting any questions. Thank you, Mehmet. Thank you, Carol. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by. Really appreciate you all. And if there are no questions, then have a fantastic Thursday night, and we'll see you guys in our next personal branding workshop.